the day.
Welcome to Mighty House. This is a radio show for people with problems, home improvement problems, that is, and for people who want common sense guidance on how to build green and live a more sustainable lifestyle. Send an email or call into the show. The Mighty House crew is on the job. This is Mighty House.
All right, hey, we're back one more time, and I think this is the last one, right, Rich? We're not going to do any more. Okay, how to select a contractor. We're going to talk a little bit more about that and go into little details of what the contractor's insurance should be, and maybe we'll get in touch on some financing, even though
finance options.
We're not bankers.
I got to pay for this.
Yeah, but we're not bankers. We're not financial planners, so take it with that grain of salt. There you go. So before we get started, I want to say thanks. Hit it, Rich. The Niles Design District, right there. NilesDesignDistrict.com, and we'll say thanks to them for supporting us and helping us put these shows together for you. And you can always go check them out. They've got a lot of great different options and products if you're going to be remodeling your home.
Where are they located at?
In strangely enough, they're located in Niles. It's very strange that they would do that, but they're actually in Niles.
But this is on YouTube, and I can watch this in California. Where's Niles?
Yes, Niles, Illinois.
There you go.
Fly into O'Hare.
Just narrowed it down some, that's all.
Yeah. Fly into O'Hare. You land, you go check out Niles Design District. I'm sure they'll ship it anywhere in the country.
Yes.
All the products you can select.
Then go back downtown, had a nice dinner, get back on the red line, get back out to O'Hare, and go home.
Boom, done. Right there. You're taken care of.
Yes.
And also, we always forget to say this. We've got a newsletter that we put out. So you can just go to mightyhouse.net, click on the Contact Us page, fill out all the information, and then click on, Rich?
Subscribe.
Or boom, done.
Oh, that's right. It's boom, done. See, it's been months since we've done that. You're right. It says boom, done. Yeah, all you need is your name, address, and phone number.
Yeah.
No,
well, not
number.
even that.
Nope.
Just name,
address, email address.
and email address. That's it. That's all we're looking for.
Not even your address. Just your name and your email address.
And then once a week, you'll get an email showing what's going on with the show, things that we're doing, things we're working on. And we get emails during the week asking questions about how to do certain things, and we'll post one of those in that newsletter also. That way, you get a little more content that way with the newsletter. And then that's all. We just once a week, that's all you're going to get.
Yep. And as long as I was talking about subscribe, you should probably just drop down there, go on to subscribe, click on the little icon, the bell there, so that you're notified every time we post a new video. Mm-hmm. So please subscribe.
Yes. We enjoy that when we watch the numbers go up every week. So there you go. All right, let's get into it. What type of insurance? Doc, the contractor you hired that pulled up in the jalopy with all his tools thrown in the back of the pickup truck that's 15 different colors and no hubcaps. That guy that's going to come walk into your house is going to knock over a vase or bring in his can of paint, and he's going to drop it on your $5,000 rug. Now what are you going to do?
Probably be pretty upset.
That's the first thing you're going to do.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So you got to have liability insurance. That's a big one.
Yep. General liability insurance is going to cover those kinds of things if they knock over a vase, they're banging on the wall, they're tearing out a bathroom, and on the other side you've got a picture you forgot to take down, and now that falls and breaks. There's all kinds of different things that can happen. Stupid things that you disconnect some electrical, start taking things apart. You don't realize that half that circuit's still alive, and then you fry the TV and all the electronics in the house. So that kind of stuff happens. So you want to be prepared for that. So you want to ask your contractor to name you as additionally insured on that liability policy. Doesn't cost him anything, and you don't have to worry about that. If he says it costs more money, then send him down the road and say bye-bye.
Well, and the other thing is, don't ever accept a certificate of insurance from the contractor. It should be emailed directly to you from the insurance agent. Now, the reason we named as additional insured is that if this guy lapses on his payments, they will give you a 30-day notice that his insurance has lapsed. And then you would be able to go back to him and say, all right, you either have to stop working on my house, you have to get your insurance renewed, blah, blah, blah. Because you don't want somebody running around without the insurance.
Right.
So that's a big one. The general liability is huge.
Right.
So let's move on. We got workman's comp, though.
Yes. Workman's
Now you
comp
got all
also.
these guys running around your house.
Yep. And then they didn't put the railing up as per OSHA, and they backed up and fell off the second floor platform onto the first floor.
That's right.
And who's paying for all those medical bills? Is the homeowner?
If he doesn't have workman's comp, then I'm saying it's going to probably come under your homeowner's insurance.
Right. Hopefully.
And then somebody's probably going to get involved and go after you for even more.
Yes, they are.
So again, you need to have general liability and proof of workman's comp for all employees.
Sure.
Now
So
this is where it gets dicey.
Yeah, because
He has workman's comp for his employees. Oh,
Right.
I have no employees. I only have subcontractors.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
May I see their certificates of insurance?
yes.
So let me tell you something else too, though. What most people don't realize. So I was a paper contractor. I was a general contractor. I only had one other employee at one time.
Right.
All of my subs, I got certificates of insurance from them, and I made sure they also had general liability, workman's comp, and actually we'll go into automotive in a little bit, but
Yep.
I had to keep track of all those because as a real general contractor running a legitimate business with insurance, I
Mhm.
was audited every year.
Yes. Yep.
They
we do
would
too.
go through every dollar I spent with subcontractors.
Mhm.
And if it said Bob's Plumbing or Bill's Heating and Air, I had to produce a certificate of insurance of theirs proving that they had that, or else I got charged it.
Correct.
In other words, if they don't have it, you're not necessarily
Off the
on
hook.
the hook for it.
You're right.
You're not necessarily going to be the bad guy, but it's got to work through the courts. So it's going
Sure.
to be a real pain.
Oh yeah.
So it goes back to why you hire a legitimate contractor who does things the right way, who has to put all this paperwork together every year. Although I found it very easy because I always just put their certificates when their insurance expired.
Yep.
I put it in my phone as their birth date.
Yeah. Oh,
and
there
then
you go.
I'd have it tell me 1 week ahead.
Right.
So I'd call them and I go, your insurance is expiring in a week. And they're like, well, how'd you know that? I'm like, it's in my phone as your birth date. And that's how I kept track of it. It was easy.
Right. Now, we're talking about Illinois law here too, and different states may have different laws for these kinds of
Sure.
things. But since you're down in Florida there, are they basically, do they work the same way?
Yeah, it's basically the same way. We actually have, general liability and workman's comp are two big ones.
Mhm.
If you've ever been to Southwest Florida, you notice there's quite a few Ferraris, Bentleys, Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
So hired and non-owned vehicles,
Yes.
commercial auto liability is huge down here.
Yeah.
You must have it. Plus, there's a lot of people that are uninsured motorists down here.
Well,
So that and $400,000 cars don't mix well.
no. And that perfect segue into the next thing is you want to see that the contractor for the trucks and the equipment that they are bringing onto your property also have insurance. So you want to check and make sure that way they pull in and they back into your car. You want to make sure that they've got insurance on their trucks.
Now, I was in business up there for probably almost 30 years.
Uh-huh.
Never had an attorney and have never had to call the insurance company. So that's a beautiful thing when it's all good like that. But that's, I always said, if you do a good job, people pay, no worries.
Right. So some of the other strange things that you might want is an installation floater. And that's a separate policy. It doesn't cost that much per year for the contractor to have. But you can ask if they've got that. And that is going to be for the window delivery that comes in that gets put into your garage. They're not installed yet, so you don't own those. And the insurance company, your homeowner's insurance, is not going to cover them because they are not installed. So who's going to cover those? If somebody backs their truck in at night and empties out your garage and takes all those windows, who's going to pay for that? The homeowner or the contractor? Well, that's why you need that installation policy. So if you have that installation floater on that equipment or on those materials that aren't installed, you're now protecting yourself and the homeowner. So
That's
the
how I used to
contractor
explain it to people. Exactly. It was mine until we nailed it in place. So until then, it was my responsibility and my liability.
Right,
But as soon as I nailed it in place, it's your homeowner's or your builder's risk policy.
right,
It's
exactly.
part of your home now.
Sure,
Yes,
sure,
exactly.
it is. So there's bonds, bond coverages, and that's going to vary per state, I'm sure. So you want to check with your local municipalities and make sure that they're checking the bonds when they pull the permits for these things. and that the contractor is bonding. And again, explain how it works.
It varies town to town. I mean, I've had towns where you did not have to have proof of insurance, but you had to have a bond.
Right.
Because you can't get a bond unless you have insurance.
Right.
So, that's one of those little things that, okay, they may not require it, but I'd still like to see the certificate of insurance.
Right. Exactly. So then another thing that you would hope a contractor has is an umbrella insurance. And that just covers any overages with any of the other policies that you might mix and miss.
Yeah, and we used to carry like a $2 million umbrella, and it's not as much money as you would think. And you don't advertise it because as soon as somebody finds out, you're the first one to get sued. But that way you slept at night knowing that, you were still covered in case somebody's insurance was lacking. Right. And like I said, you could, with wine collections, expensive cars, you know what I mean? It's not hard to sometimes get over that limit. Initial. And we always make sure that it's not per occurrence. It's the $1 million, it's per occurrence, not like forever.
Right. For a one-time deal.
Yeah. Because otherwise, if they say it's spread over time, it may not cover. So as you can hear, this might confuse you. You might just say, this is scary in a way. And it is.
Yeah. But you need to cover yourself.
You need to cover yourself. Absolutely.
You need to make sure. This is the stuff where homeowners get burned. The contractor will get screwed up. They ruin something. They break something. They just pack up their truck and pull out, and they're gone, and leave you holding the bag. So you just want to make sure that the insurance is there and that you're covered to be able to, at least figure out the outcome of your project that's going to be successful. And that's
and I always
really
tell people, a lot of people want to general their own job, right? Because this is also scary, so they can take on all the responsibility of collecting this and monitoring insurance.
Right.
And all that's great. But then we also deal with OSHA. So the same guy that backed up and fell off your deck, if you were acting as the GC, you get the first fine also for the $10,000 because you should have known that he should have been tied off or whatever. I mean, it just gets complicated. It really does. So it's not as much fun as it was 40 years ago.
No, not at all. And I've got one more. That we've never talked about. And so I'm saving this one for last. And this is the policy that we now have. We've had it for, 6-7 years now. But it's employment practices liability policy.
Is that like professional, like the errors and omissions?
No. It's actually for sexual harassment or any of those kinds of issues that come up, false termination, or there's different practices like that kind of stuff. That's what that's for. So, for instance, if our guys are out on the job site, they're not even talking to the homeowner, but maybe they're getting colorful in their language and getting a little colorful in the conversation they're having, and the homeowner overhears that, they can now sue you because of putting them in that situation, because they had to listen to that because that's in their home. So even though we've gone through
sensitivity training,
sexual harassment training, which is now required by the state of Illinois, we've gone through that training. But even though we've done that,
sorry, I'm shaking my head, but I knew there was a reason I left Illinois.
Wow. Just because you've got two guys in a different room talking about some subject that may or may not be compliant, that the homeowner likes, the homeowner can then sue you for that conversation that's going on in a different room, even if they're not even talking to that person. So that is another one. If you're a contractor out there listening to this, it doesn't cost that much per year, but it's called employment practices liability. So that's another one. So if you fire somebody, incorrectly, or you fail to hire someone correctly, it'll cover that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, well, that's why we have an HR department. She crosses all those T's and dots all those I's. But you're right. It's insane now.
So I am the HR department. So, I need to cover that kind of stuff. And,
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, and that's one that, you don't know what your guys are doing out there. You don't know what your subs are doing out there. You have no control over it. You don't know what they're talking about, who's out there in and out. You don't know if the homeowner's around. So, that's a safe policy to have for a contractor. So, Just putting that last one out there for you, brother, because I knew I saved that one for
People
last.
got to get thicker skins then. I'm sorry. That is just insane.
I'm just putting it out there because it
I hear
happens.
All right, let's talk about something nicer like financing.
Oh, that's right. We want to get into the financing real quick because there's just a couple quick little things here. Let's see. Again, we're not financial analysts.
But these are your typical ways to fund a project.
There, right there.
Yes,
See that?
we are not lawyers. Yes.
Thanks,
So-
there, Sonar.
The three most probable ways that you would fund your job is going to be simple home equity loan,
Correct.
which would be obvious is take the equity out of your home, convert it to cash, pay the bills.
Right.
You can get a construction loan,
Right.
and that would be based on the overall cost of the job plus the actual value of your home, and they can give you a larger sum.
Sure.
And the better one or the best one of all of those is your construction to perm loan, because now it's like a giant refi. You're putting all your eggs in a basket, and they basically do a new appraisal of your home based on the completed home. So if you're planning a second story addition, you have a house that's worth 150,000 and you want to put a second story addition on, and now it's going to be say another 150,000 to put that addition on.
Right.
But your house will be worth 350 when you're done. Now you have 50,000 in equity when you complete it, so you can pull out that loan for up to let's go to 325, knowing that you'll still have equity. You've
Right.
got some money for, any overages that may occur, something you didn't see, unforeseen. But now you're refining it, and today's rates are so low, it's kind of a no-brainer. So
Yeah.
you're locked in at a rate today, and you get 12 months to do the job, and when it's done, it converts to a mortgage, and there you go, boom, done.
Right. So if you do a construction loan, they're going to give you that loan, but then you have to, when you get done, now you have to refi again. So, there's more involved into it. So that's probably the most expensive option. Home equity, I think, is probably the cheapest. You just pull the money out if you've got the equity. And if
If
not,
you've got the equity, but you still might want to just do a refi for cash.
correct.
Because a home equity loan is usually like a line of credit, and they're giving you an interest rate. But if you did a refi for cash, you could refinance the house, lower your interest rate, depending on what you're paying now, and then still pull cash out if you have that equity. You got to be careful with that one, because if you want depending on the size of the remodel, I mean, if you're doing a whole kitchen or a master suite, something like that, those numbers get fairly large pretty
Yes.
quick.
Yes,
So
they do.
You may not have enough equity to pull that off. You
Right,
may
and-
need to go.
And the
different
permanent construction loan, that last one we were talking about, another good advantage to there is that's now going to run through a title company. So they're going to check the payouts and the insurance for the contractors. as
the
they go
waivers
through.
like we talked about
Yep.
earlier in another episode. Absolutely.
So if you want to know more about that, go back to the previous episodes and you can watch that stuff. So those are the two main ones. And then there are tax implications. So talk to your accountant prior to doing any of these to make sure that you're doing the right one for your situation. So, and it's just take basic planning. So I think at this point, we could pretty much wrap this one up. How to select a contractor. There's a lot to it. It's not just asking Susie next door, hey, Susie, who'd you use to do your addition? And that be the end all to hiring somebody.
Sorry, looking behind you there, but just take your drawing, send it out to 3 guys, and take the lowest bid.
No.
That's all you had to do.
No, that's not
No.
what you want to do.
Watch this series again. It's
Yes. Yeah, go
long,
back
it's
and
drawn
listen.
out, but it makes sense.
There's a reason we put this out there, because we see people getting burned every day on the news. We get phone calls asking us to come out and help them because they've gotten burned by these contractors. So hopefully this will help somebody. If we save one person from getting burned, this has all been worth it to me.
Now you're from Chicago. You got to say, I got to save 2 or 3.
2 or 3 times, yes.
Got to save 2 or 3 people. More happy.
There you go. All right, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and you can check out some of our other videos that'll be popping up here in the corners too. So with that, keep it square and level.
Until next time.
Until next time. There you go. All right. Man, it took a long time to do all of these. We've been here for hours putting all these together.
6 or 7 hours at least. I hope
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
hope it's worth it.
At least that much. Yeah.
Order a pizza.
Located on Milwaukee Avenue, the Niles Design District is a home improvement destination for consumers, designers, and contractors. For those looking to renovate a kitchen or a bathroom, expand with a new addition, or enhance their curb appeal, Niles Design District in Niles, Illinois offers everything in one convenient location.
It's your road to a better home.